Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of the Cyberman Show. This is the month end update episode where I cover everything that's happening in the industry. This includes the breaches, incidents, vulnerabilities, any new reports that I've come across, how the money is moving, and my learnings from it. Now, before we move into today's content, quick update on my new social media handles. So, I now have an Instagram page. It's known as instagram.com/slash the Cyberman Show. What I'm trying to do on this social media page is put up the short form content, and I'm going to do that on YouTube also. Some of you might have already seen this content appearing on my YouTube channel. This content is not suited for the podcast format. So if you're looking for short uh, form content for learnings, then I recommend you to subscribe either to Instagram or YouTube. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover things that are happening day to day. Example, the news, cybersecurity best practices, some updates on terms, essentially basics. Then what I've recently also done is I've made some content on specific incidents from industry, how various issues have occurred and how an industry came up together to fight those issues in cybersecurity. Example, in the last episode that I did, I covered about Stuxnet, which was the first cyber weapon known to the industries. And in the second episode, I'm going to cover what happened after Stuxnet, how the industry evolved, etc. Okay, so I recommend you to subscribe to that content also. With that, let's move on to the content for today. Now, I might not have the same voice as I typically do because I'm traveling for RSA conference here at San Francisco. So I'm not using my regular mic. I'm just using AirPods for recording. Hope the clarity is good. So let's start with the breaches. So very active month. Let's start with the cyber war. As you know, there are multiple geopolitical conflicts happening, and Russia and Ukraine have been at each other since last year. Now, specifically, Russia fighting with Ukraine or their cyber specific campaigns to Ukraine. A group called Sandworm, and they're known to be associated with Kremlin. They have targeted nearly 20 energy facilities in Ukraine, and this came from a report released by the Ukrainian CERT. The idea that uh, Russia has is to amplify the impact of the Russian missile and drone strikes on critical infrastructure along with these cyber strikes. So these hackers deployed several new and previously known malware variants into the various sectors, systems that are used in these sectors like energy, water, and heating suppliers in at least 10 regions in March. And then the agency also confirmed that this led to the compromise of at least three supply chains by these cyber criminals. Specific in this attack by Sandworm, it coincided with the massive Russian military strikes on country's critical infrastructure and up to 80% of the country's thermal generation, half of its hydro generation, and a large number of substations were under attack. Okay, Ukraine was forced to introduce scheduled power outages that lasted several hours a day last year, including following the Russian attacks on the critical infrastructure. So they are continuously repeating this strategy. So kinetic strike and the cyber strikes in parallel. And this is happening uh, in the recent Iran-Israel conflict also. So both these strategies are executed in parallel. Now, on the other side, what is Ukraine trying to do into Russia is a group called Cyber Resistance. This self-describe themselves as an activist team. They have claimed to breach Russia's drone developer called Albatross and have leaked around 100 gigabytes of data, including internal documentation and some technical data. And they have shared this data with Inform Nepal and Ukrainian security forces since 2014, and they are frequently updating their investigations on their Telegram channels, which has thousands of subscribers. The group shared the leaked document with this group called Inform Nepal, and it's an international volunteer community conducting investigation based on data leaks. Info on Nepal released a report analyzing this data from Albatross, omitting sensitive information used by Ukraine's military and screenshots of leaked documents, maps, and photos related to Albatross operations are included in this investigation. So that's interesting. Uh, as you would have noticed, uh, these groups, whether they're hacktivists or they're cyber mercenaries or cyber criminals supporting a particular government or a nation, they go after each other, not only after the critical infrastructure, but anything that can damage the narrative also. Okay? And also any internal or sensitive information that can give them some edge in the war. Now, I'm sure you recall some of the misinformation campaigns also done by Russia and Ukraine, both in this to ensure that the citizens lose trust in their government. Now, moving on from cyber war to the industry, a company called Kaiser Permanente, their website tracking tools have been compromised, uh, and could have led to loss of data for 13 million customers. So this company, Kaiser Permanente, their website has tracking tools, and it's very common. So your traveling website or a lot of other websites, they install these tracking tools to capture information about the end users who are visiting these websites, including people like us, right? So this potential breach occurred through the unnamed online technology company. Uh, they have a tracking software installed on this website as well as mobile application. By the way, the company says that the after the breach news, the software has been removed, but this information may have included IP addresses, names, information that could indicate a member or patient, as it was signed into the Kaiser Permanente counter service, information showing a member or patient, how they interacted with the website, where they navigated, and what search term were used in their health encyclopedia. So the this it was essentially a configuration issue and legacy software. By the way, a study published last year by researchers at the University of Pennsylvania and Carnegie Mellon found that 98.6% of non-federal acute care hospitals in the US use these third-party tracking tools on their website. Okay, so while there were studies done in US, it's applicable all across the world. If you are a business, you typically deploy tracking software to track how users are interacting with with your website, what kind of things are they looking for, where are they coming from. It's all the data that is used by analytics, and this can be used by attackers to get the end user victims information to carry out further attacks. And essentially, this data is sold. Sometimes the attackers will buy it. They will then use this information, like an email address, to send ransomware specific stuff or phishing emails or both. Okay. Moving on, MITRE was breached through I-90 zero-day vulnerabilities. So people who are not familiar with MITRE, they are a very popular company in the cybersecurity world. They have a framework called ATT&CK, which is used for product evaluations and to ensure that the cybersecurity incident detection and response coverage is there based on their framework. There is also a very popular research that they do. It's called the MITRE Ingenuity Evaluations, where they conduct comparisons of various endpoint security products on various scenarios given by this company. Going back to this attack, the MITRE CTO, Charles Clancy, said in a statement that the company discovered last week that its unclassified collaborative research and development network, where prototyping and other work is housed, was compromised this foreign nation state actor. And there is no indication that MITRE's core enterprise network or partner systems were infected by this incident, right? So people who recall, I-20 VPN had multiple zero-day vulnerabilities, and there were exploits seen by multiple cybersecurity companies worldwide, and MITRE turned out to be one of the victims. The good thing is there is no indication on the core enterprise network breach. Okay. Also, a group called Omni Hotels and Resorts confirmed last week that there was a cyber attack, and this led to the impact on the new users or new guests who are trying to check into the hotel and make new reservations. So this hotel chain is out of US. They have around 50 hotels and resorts in the North America region, and they're right now dealing with the attack. The issued report by customers on multiple forums mentioned that they were hour-long waiting queues to check in, issue changing their reservation, and inability to call certain offices. And A similar incident happened last time when MGM, uh, Grand Casino, got breached in Las Vegas. So customers get frustrated, and this leads to brand damage. Next, cybercriminals are taking over Facebook pages and using them to advertise fake generative AI software loaded with malware. This is called malvertising, and now they are using the legitimate products, not using but impersonating legitimate products like Midjourney, Sora AI, ChatGPT 5, ChatGPT 4, etc. So, because these products are really popular, what cybercriminals will do, they will create fake accounts, or they will take over existing popular Facebook accounts, make changes to the page descriptions, cover profile photo, and it seems that the page is run by well-known AI-based image and video generator groups. And then they populate these pages with product news and ads for software, which themselves are generated by AI software. Okay, and once the end user downloads this information, some file. This download would contain several types of information stealing malware like RailLed, IceRat, Nova Stealers, Wider, etc. And by the way, these softwares are available for purchase on the dark web. The most notable Facebook hijack involved the popular tool called Midjourney that is used for creating AI images, and it hijacked its hijack page had 1.2 million followers, and it was active for nearly a year before it was shut down earlier this month. Right? So that's massive. Be careful on what you download, where you download it from. I typically download. I don't download anything from internet unless it's verified by the company that's after this technology, and also I think I have enough cybersecurity controls deployed on my systems when I'm working on these advanced tools. Also, AT&T confirmed that a data set with information of 73 million current and former customers leak is is valid. They legitimized it. This breach news came last month, and then telecommunication giant said that the data appears to be from 2019, and it had around 65.4 million customers data from of former customers, and then 7.6 million customers data who are right now active and they have an account in AT&T. So this data includes social security numbers, names, email addresses, AT&T account numbers, passcodes. Currently, AT&T doesn't have any evidence of this unauthorized access to its systems, resulting in exfiltration of this data set. The company is communicating proactively with those impacted and is offering free credit monitoring at their expense wherever it's applicable. And they've also confirmed that as of today, when I captured this report, this incident has no material impact on AT&T's operation. Okay. The lesson from this is that this customer information is held by multiple companies and their partners in multiple places. Some of this could be outdated, might not be current, and this could be used by cyber criminals for conducting various attacks and leaking the information or selling it. Now, also look at updates on past breaches. So, some of you might remember the famous United Health Group breach. Uh, Now, there is in their recent uh, earnings call, they reported that $872 million were lost due to this ransomware attack on their subsidiary called Change Healthcare, and it had a direct cost estimated to around $595 million. So UHG owns Change Healthcare. It's a key conglomerate in the US healthcare industry, and they were crippled by the ransomware attack in Feb. Now, Change Healthcare and UHG subsidiaries Optum took hundreds of systems offline as a result of incident, and the UHG has additionally lost around, they're anticipating that they will lose 350 to 450 million dollars for the rest of the year, depending on the service restoration. They're still not able to recover it fully. The attack led to the temporary suspension of care management activities and ongoing disruption of Change Healthcare services, contributing to further losses. The company allegedly paid $22 million in ransom to the gang called Black Cat, but the payment was stolen by another hacker affiliated with the ransomware. Okay, this leaked data, which has over 4 terabyte of information, includes information on UHG partners like CVS and Medicare, as well as personal data from thousands of patients, right? So this is interesting. Uh, and terrible as well. From interesting from cybersecurity point of view, how they lost this information and how cyber criminals are going after large conglomerates who have customers' data related to million records, millions of customers, millions of records, just like we saw at AT&T. So in this problem of data governance is getting very critical. Data sensitivity, data privacy, these things have to be taken very seriously by these large companies, and sometimes it gets out of control also. Right? I know companies are working on it, but what's happening is there are companies who move slow, not particularly talking about Change Healthcare or UHG, but generally what happens is certain industries they have a lot of technical debt. They're using outdated technologies. The processes might not be stringent or very secure in all the groups, all the views, and that leads to all these massive breaches. Now, in the other news related to breaches and incidents, a hacker has been charged with more than 30,000 counts of attempted extortion after breaching a psychotherapy center. He's been sentenced to more than 6 years in prison. Okay, this hacker's name is Alexandri KV Maki. It, he was associated with Lizard Squad. Google it. It's a pretty interesting story around Lizard Squad. Hopefully, I'll cover it someday in my uh, YouTube or Instagram channel. And so essentially, what he did is he attacked this psychotherapy center called Vestamo, and he's been found guilty with over 90 to 100 counts of disseminating private information, over 20,000 counts of attempted blackmail, and 20 counts of actual blackmail. He also faces over 5,000 individual compensation claims. This was a large-scale breach that started in 2018 and became public in 2020. It involved theft of sensitive data and subsequent blackmail of individual patients. The breach, which led to the publication of private therapy records online, has been described as a watershed moment for the Finnish society, deeply affecting numerous victims and leading to widespread electronic collection of victim statements by the police. So, in a lot of countries, the regulations are not as stringent, or even if they are, they're not followed as strictly as they should be by various practitioners and the clinics or any businesses around this. Okay, not just healthcare, physical healthcare, mental healthcare, but any other industry, right? And that's why these people, these cyber criminals, go after these companies, and they use this information for blackmailing people. This is terrible. Also, in ransomware, there are reports that Akira ransomware gang made $42 million from 250 attacks since March 2023. This report came out from FBI. They hit 250 organizations worldwide and made that staggering $42 million in ransom. What is concerning is how they have evolved as a group, from targeting Windows systems to deploying a Linux variant aimed at VMware ESXi machines. And it's a very common software in large businesses. They exploit known vulnerabilities like from Cisco, and then they employ phishing tactics to breach in organizations, disabling security software inside. Interestingly, they are not leaving ransom demands on compromised network, but instead wait to be contacted by victims. This modus operandi, along with their threat to publish exfiltrated data on the Tor network, adds to the pressure on victimized companies. So make sure your data is protected. Make sure that you're not putting any sensitive data with least amount of protection. At least have password for all your sensitive data, and make sure that it's safe with you. Okay. Also, there's a new trend that has come out in ransomware side. There is an availability of cheap disposable ransomware available on dark web forums. These junk gun equivalents in cybercrime are inexpensive and unreliable, but require no affiliates, making them attractive to inexperienced freelancers. They're priced between $20 to zero point 0.5 Bitcoin, and they present a low entry barrier for aspiring cyber criminals despite risk like defects or scam. So cheap ransomware is there. Ransomware has been popular for last so many years. Now there are cheaper versions, making it very easy for anyone to carry out a ransomware attack and blackmail the victims to extort some money. Also, There's a new trend on verticals, new verticals getting targeted. So honestly, it's not new. The trend has been there. People go after specific verticals, and then these verticals deploy cybersecurity controls. Then they go after another vertical. So if you remember the attacks on K-12 schools in US and any universities, followed by healthcare in some time, then government, and now this year in at least in April, the Atlantic Fisheries body on East Coast confirmed there's a cyber incident after aid-based ransomware gang claimed the breach. So the org said that its email system is down, and then what happened is that aid-based ransomware gang added this organization to its leaked site, giving official 4 days to pay the ransom. The ransom amount was not disclosed. The group claimed it has stolen invoices, personal data, contracts, and more. By the way, this group is relatively new and it ramped up its activity in summer 2023. As per researchers, this group is very active and targeting smaller businesses. Now, while this happened on this particular fisheries bodies on the East Coast, the attack on food and agriculture sector in the US is increasing. So they were hit by more than 160 ransomware attacks last year. The first annual report of the Food and Agriculture Information Sharing and Analysis Center, Food and AG ISAC, said that the industry was the seventh most targeted sector in the industry behind manufacturing, financial services, and others. So, multiple large security food companies dealt with cyber incidents in 2023, including Dole's, Cisco, and Mondelez. These are very popular food companies. And ransomware gangs are going after low hanging fruit and organizations with discoverable and exploitable security lapses. The Food and AG ISAC works with the IT ISAC in compiling figures based on open source intelligence and active monitoring of dark web and dark website. The IT ISAC tracked a total of 2905 ransomware attacks across all industries in 2023. While the numbers specific to food and agriculture industry is relatively small, the interconnected nature of the industry means an attack on one company often affects others, right, in the entire supply chain. Now, I anticipate that this is going to increase, not just in US, but everywhere else in the world. As long as you're connected, as long as you're not putting enough security controls, cyber criminals will come after you. In US, there is the regulations uh, push organizations to release their cyber incidents. In other countries, these are not as stringent. But this, I suspect, will increase. Okay. With that, let's move on to the vulnerabilities side. Multiple vulnerabilities were reported in April. Like every month, every week, software vulnerabilities are going to stay as long as we use software. Few interesting ones. So Crush FTP, very popular file transfer protocol company, they released a patch based on an exploit that was released in the world, and multiple US entities were affected and said intelligence gathering activity was possibly politically motivated. So file transfer tools are a right target for hackers interested in data theft. Two of the biggest cybersecurity incidents in 2023 revolved around zero-day vulnerabilities in file transfer tools. Move it and go anywhere. And these, because these uh, products are used for data transfer, hackers go after them for extorting money. And I've covered that in my episodes earlier. Also, the threat intelligence report from Recorded Future mentioned the same. They expect more incidents of this, and so do I. Okay. Most of these services are part of Shadow IT, which is they are not approved by cybersecurity teams, and some business unit install them. They're easy to set up, and then some cyber criminal will find them and go after this. Then XZ backdoor. So there's this utility called XZutils. It's an essential software package for developers, and it offers lossless compression of release tarballs, software packages, kernel images on Linux. And this backdoor was introduced in the Linux utility within the libLZMA library. This backdoor enables a malicious actor to break the SSD authentication and gain unauthorized access to the entire system remotely. So this impacts most of the Linux-based deployments. So this is going to be massive. I know there are patches in place. There are cybersecurity researchers who are tracking this, and solutions are coming out. Another popular vulnerability from last month was the vulnerability found in the Palo Alto firewall-based VPN. The hot fixes are released now, and it affects their global VPN, global Protect VPN product. This allows hackers to access victim networks through internet accessible devices, facilitating lateral movement within the networks. So thousands of vulnerable instances of global Protect VPN were found exposed globally, and with potential association to threat actors like Lazarus and PNLN. Attackers exploiting the vulnerability have been ongoing since at least March 26, with Palo Alto confirming a limited number of attacks. What happens is, as long as there's a technology which is connected, attackers will find a zero day and they will try to exploit it. We saw that happening in case of Ivanti, Fortinet, now Palo Alto, Cisco, etc. Quite common, not just the sensor technology, but anything which is connected to internet. Also, in the R programming language, a highly severe vulnerability was reported that this could possibly expose organization using the popular open source language model, and this is type of a software supply chain attack. This language is very popularly used for statistical computing and graphic applications, and it's used by developers in healthcare, government, research governments in environments where there is large data set of AI and machine learning. This weakness in the R process gives attackers a way to execute arbitrary code in the victim's environment, and the remediation is to just update to the latest version of R. Now the update is there. What happens is, with like all the issues that I've seen in the past, there is a software vulnerability, and typically the software makers will release a patch, but most customers don't go with patch. I mean, how many of you honestly update your Chrome? I've seen that happening. Even cybersecurity developers, they don't update their softwares as much. So I highly recommend you to do that. Then Apple has notified users in 92 countries about mercenary cyberware attacks. So the details are not that are not available, but I am not aware of the notification that was sent by Apple. Also, LGTV vulnerabilities. So, four new vulnerabilities affecting thousands of LGTVs have been reported by researchers, and it allows attackers to add themselves to the user, take other action, install code. Example, botnet. If I get control of my LGTV of somebody else's LGTV also, then I can install a botnet, and if I can scale that to thousands, I can use that to conduct an attack on a business. So researchers did a scan of a public tool called Shodan, and they found 91,000 LG devices around the world that were exposed to this vulnerability and were connected to internet. Patches are already there. As I said, make sure the TVs are updated. Not just LG, but anything that has a software which today is there and everything. And just make sure it is updated. These specific vulnerabilities allow attackers to drop malware on the device, monitor traffic, move through a smart home network, etc. Okay, so attackers can get into a home. Lastly, on the vulnerability side, there is a cyber hygiene vulnerability scanning program that was created in the US by CISA, and what they do is they essentially scan internet for all internet connected systems and specific vulnerabilities, and the focus has been finding potential ransomware attack surface. Okay, so specifically the ransomware vulnerability warning pilot was unveiled in Jan 2023 with an intent to identify organizations with internet accessible vulnerabilities commonly associated with known ransomware attack. The service is free, and it notifies organization if their assets are found in this scan. They've made 1,754 notifications last year, resulting in 852 actions taken by organization. This program focuses on communication with government and critical infrastructure agencies, and helped in achieving 40% risk reduction within the first year of the program. So this is pretty good. A government body doing this initiative. I wish every government in the world could do that, or even private sector. Offering a free service to help small businesses from to prevent cyber attacks. Okay. Lastly, on the new report site, MITRE has a new, BlackBerry's threat research and intelligence team has a new report called "My Top MITRE Attack Tactics" that are used by threat actors based on analysis of their 5 million cyber attacks that they have stopped in the last 1 to 3 days. So I highly recommend everyone to go through these reports. They help you learn, they help you where how to build your skill set, how attackers can get into infrastructure, how to build controls around uh, in your infrastructure. Also, NSA came up with a new report called Top 10 Cloud Security Mitigation Strategies, and it talks about cloud shared responsibility models, securing cloud identity access management, cloud key management, network segmentation, encryption, securing data in the cloud, CI/CD security, etc. So I'm going to do a detailed episode on this. Uh, Also, from the product side, there is a new Gartner Magic Quadrant for Secure Services Edge for 2024. So this is an annual release done by Gartner, and there are companies that were evaluated for their SSE capabilities, and the findings are categorized into leaders, challengers, niche players, and visionaries. So in 2023, what I noticed in the report, although the leaders and the name of the companies are there, the companies move within the same quadrant based on what they're doing in terms of innovation, how they're acquiring customers. So in leaders, there is Netscope, Zscaler, and Palo Alto. Uh, Again, all have changed place to my understanding. What is interesting is Fortinet got added as a challenger in 2024. They were not there in the SSC report for 2023. Okay, and then I also see Versa Networks coming up in SSC. They were not there in the 2023 report. So that's interesting. Also, how money is moving. There are funding rounds. So I found out about this new domain called Application Detection and Response. A company called Magio got 7.5 million seed round. So DNR is getting hot, specifically in the application side because applications are getting complicated. There's an application of everything. So I think cybersecurity is going to move from there. My personal view is that things that we as cybersecurity architects, engineers, or as end users, uh, like network security, people were spending a lot of time learning about them. Now all that is getting consolidated. SSCs is become has become relatively easier. So network security will get commoditized. It is going to take less time to set it up. We'll move from an on-premise solution to an SSC solution. Uh, AI and analytics will help us learn more, consolidate. Platforms are getting popular anyways. But the shift is the major change I see is happening on two sides: industrial malware as well as, or industrial cybersecurity as well as on the application security, cloud security, that entire CNAP and application security side. Okay. Also, M&A, Gem Security got acquired by Wiz for $350 million. It's a cloud detection and response company. By the way, there's an episode on CDR in my podcast. Go ahead and take a look, download notes, learn. On the industrial security side, Armis, a very popular company, acquired a company called Silk Security for $150 million to help consolidate, contextualize, and prioritize findings. Also, Wiz acquired another company called Lace. Sorry, the deal got scrapped, but there was rumor that Wiz is going to acquire Lacework. Lacework had a evaluation has a valuation of $8.3 billion in 2021, and there was a deal. There was a rumor going on in the industry that they're going to get acquired at 150 to $200 million. As of now, when I'm recording this episode, this deal did come through. Lastly, on the money side, Thoma Bravo announced that it would take an AI-powered threat detection company called Darktrace private for $5.3 billion. And Thoma Bravo has a bunch of cybersecurity companies in their hood. And I recommend to take a look at Thoma Bravo portfolio. It's pretty interesting. It's a different way of how they operate. Also on the AI and cybersecurity industry side, the OWASP AI exchange is open sourced, and there is a now on active discussion on security of AI. And there are other vast AI initiatives like AI and Security Privacy Guide, LLM Top 10, ML Top 10, etc. So I highly recommend you to learn this. Also, Google has been making moves in AI and cybersecurity. So they uh, they have introduced a framework called Secure AI Framework (SAIF), and they are using large language models to expand vulnerability testing coverage and releasing a fuzzing framework as an open source project. Okay. They've also developed an automated pipeline using LLMs to generate and test fixes for vulnerabilities, showing promising results in patching bugs and saving business time. So this is going to get massive. A lot of companies are making investments at RSA this year. I expect tons of announcements coming from Microsoft, Google, Palo Alto, all and other companies who are in cybersecurity around how they are going to use AI to fight cybersecurity, which is fighting uh, malicious attacks generated using AI, how to secure the infrastructure using AI, as well as secure the AI itself. These are the three use cases I see coming up. I'm going to do an episode on my RSA conference learnings this year. With that, let's summarize what we learned today. So, one, AI and cyber development will get massive. There is definitely an increase in the application security side. So, I highly recommend everyone to read about it. Software supply chains attacks are going to get increased. They've been there very active for last 2 years, and existing vulnerabilities will keep coming back. So make sure your softwares are updated, they are secure, you patch them, and new verticals are going to get attacked. With that, thank you so much. I know this was a long episode. Typically, the month-end episodes have tons of updates, and this is in spite of the fact that I don't cover everything. With that, thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Keep sharing, keep learning. Bye bye.